You're browsing a B2B platform and you see it, a product listed at 50 cents a piece, 1,000 units for $500. Easy money. So you send an inquiry, and the quote that comes back is much, much higher than the number on the page. Here's the thing. You didn't get scammed. You just can't read the price tag. That 50 cents was never a price. It's a coded coordinate. I've exported from China for years, and right now I'm setting up my own storefront on one of these platforms, which is exactly why I reverse engineered how pricing really works there. In the next few minutes, I'll teach you to decode it. Let's dissect that 50 cents. On these platforms, a listing price is almost never one number. It's a range with tiers, say 50 cents to $1.80, tied to order quantities. Buy 500 units, you pay one price. Buy 50,000, you pay another. And here's the platform's display rule. The search page shows the lowest tier. So that 50 cents you saw, its full translation reads something like 50,000 units minimum, base model only, no customization, favorable payment terms, and not during peak season. It was never a quote for you. It's a quote for an imaginary perfect customer, the biggest possible buyer on the best possible day. And this isn't one seller being clever. It's the physics of the platform. The search page puts price and minimum order quantity front and center, and price drives clicks more than almost anything else, which means every seller is forced into the same move. Make your lowest tier look competitive, or nobody ever opens your page at all. Once every seller does it, the search page becomes a wall of best-case scenario numbers. Not lies exactly, just everyone showing only their best day. So where does the gap come from? 3 mechanisms. And notice, none of them require anyone to be dishonest. Mechanism 1. The race to the bottom tier. The platform displays your lowest price. If you don't push that number down, your competitor will. And you vanish onto page 2. So, everyone pushes. The search page turns into an arms race of theoretical minimums. Mechanism 2. The bait listing, and I mean that in the most professional sense. Some listings, especially for customizable products, are priced right down near cost, on purpose. Because in this industry, everyone knows. The moment a buyer adds their logo, changes the material, tweaks the size, the price resets anyway. That listed number was never meant to close a deal. Its entire job is to win one thing, your inquiry. The inquiry is where the actual selling begins. Mechanism 3. The price is frozen in ideal conditions. Raw materials move, currencies move, ocean freight. Remember the heartbeat chart from 2 videos ago. Swings violently. That's why real quotes come with an expiry date, sometimes just days. The number on the page, it might be a fossil from a market that existed 3 months ago. Stack those 3 together, and there's your gap, the space between the listed floor and what anyone actually pays. But here's the part I want you to hold on to, because it's the honest part. This is not a scam. It's an equilibrium. Every seller is pushed into the same corner by the same display rules. The real mistake isn't on the seller's side. It's the buyer reading a starting coordinate as if it were a final destination. So what actually sets the real price? 5 variables, roughly in order of weight. 1. Quantity, always the heavyweight. That's the entire point of tiered pricing. 2. Customization, your logo, your material, your size, your packaging. Every change resets the math. 3. Payment terms, higher deposit, faster settlement. The price gets friendlier. Ask for credit and the risk gets baked into the number. 4. Timing, peak season, when every factory line is full, prices stiffen. Flexible on delivery, that's leverage. 5. Compliance, testing reports, certifications, everything we covered in the middleman episode. Real costs, real line items. Feed all 5 variables in, and the price finally collapses from a range into a single number. That's the moment a listing becomes a quote, which is why experienced buyers never open with, "What's your best price?" That question just invites the fantasy tier all over again. Instead, their very first inquiry lays out everything: quantity, specs, payment, timeline. It forces the quote to land on reality in one step. The rule is almost mechanical. The more complete your information, the more real the number you get back. Let's turn this into 4 moves you can actually use. 1. Never budget off the search page minimum. Treat it as the floor of the category, not your cost. Plan around the middle to upper end of the range. 2. Be suspicious of prices that look impossibly low. Far below the category floor usually means a bait listing or conditions you haven't seen yet. Ask one question. What quantity and what configuration does this price assume? 3. Make your first inquiry complete. Quantity, specs, payment terms, timeline, certifications, all of it up front. A complete inquiry gets a real quote. A lazy inquiry gets the fantasy tier. 4. When comparing quotes, compare conditions first. When 2 quotes look far apart, 9 times out of 10, it's not a price difference, it's a conditions difference. And 1 fair word for the seller's side, because soon that side includes me. When my own storefront goes live, I'll face the exact same display rules. In a market where everyone shows their lowest tier, the one seller who lists their honest price simply dies of no clicks. That's the real lesson. When you can't change the rules of a game, reading them fluently is the only edge there is, for buyers and sellers alike. Let's zoom out. 6 episodes in, you've now seen the whole chain. How things get made, how industries take root, how markets predict you, how goods cross the ocean, what the middle layer does. And today, how information itself gets priced on this chain. A platform price isn't a lie, it's a compressed file. You just have to know how to unzip it. Next week, the step that comes right after the inquiry and right before the order. Samples. Why some are free and some cost money. What actually happens when a factory ships you one, and how to spot a sample scam before it costs you. It's the gate every buyer walks through, and almost nobody explains it. If you want the real economics behind the things on your shelf, subscribe. I'm here every week.